Welcome to Level Up Podcast. Today's episode is for you if you're thinking about starting a business, or if you already started one but you feel like you're building it blindly without knowing what actually matters. Because let me be honest, most people don't start a business with strategy from day one. They start with emotion. They start because they're either tired of their job, they start because they want freedom, they start because they have a passion, they start because they saw someone else do it, baby. But passion is important, but it doesn't build a sustainable business. Structure does. And the reason I'm reporting this episode is because I've seen it from both sides. I'm not only a founder of 10 years, I'm also a business lawyer. And for years, I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs and companies with everything from company formation, contracts, partnerships, legal structure, risk management, and scaling their business the right way. So I've seen exactly what works and what destroys businesses before they even get started. And as a founder myself, I've built multiple businesses over the past 10 years as well. I've made mistakes. I've learned the hard way, and I've built systems that actually work in real life, not just in theory. So this episode is not going to be the usual motivational speech. It's going to be practical and educational, because most businesses don't fail because the founder isn't smart. They fail because the founder doesn't understand the fundamentals. They don't understand the market. They don't understand marketing. They don't understand the numbers. They don't understand the legal risks, and they definitely don't understand what founder life actually requires. So today, I want to give you the 5 things you need to understand before you start a business. And if you take this seriously, it can save you years of mistakes. It can save you a lot of money. It can save you stress, and it can save you from building a business that looks good on Instagram but is falling apart behind the scenes. This is going to be simple, very practical, without any fluff, just real business. So here's what we're covering today. First, we'll talk about product market fit, meaning, does the market actually want what you want to sell? Then we want to talk about marketing and branding, including personal branding, because as a founder, you are part of the product. Then we'll get into the numbers, and I'll break down the 5 most important business numbers you need to understand in a way that even a beginner can follow. Then we'll talk about the legal stuff. And I'm going to be very direct here, because this is the part most people ignore, and it can cost you everything. And finally, we'll talk about mental and financial readiness, because being a founder is not just a career, it's a lifestyle. And not everyone is prepared for what it comes with. So if you're serious about starting a business, take notes, because this episode is basically a masterclass. Let's get into it. Let's start with the most important thing that many miss actually. Before you spend money, before you register a company, before you create a logo, before you build a website, before you even post about it, you need to answer one question. Does the market actually want what I'm selling? This is called product market fit. And product market fit is basically, is there a real demand for your product or service? Because a lot of people fall in love with their idea. They think this is such a good concept, this is such a good product, this is so unique. But being unique is not enough. Your product doesn't need to be impressive. It needs to solve a problem that people are willing to pay for. And let me tell you something that might hurt a little bit. Your opinion about your idea doesn't really matter, because the market decides, the customer decides. And if customers don't care, your business isn't a business, it's a personal project. So how do you test product market fit? Here are some very simple ways. First question you need to answer: are people already paying for something similar? Because if the market is already buying something similar, it means there's a demand. If nobody is buying anything similar, it doesn't necessarily mean it won't work, but it means you'll have to educate the market, and that is expensive and slow. Second question: what problem does your product solve? And don't answer this in like a cute way. Not it helps people feel good. I mean a real problem. Like it saves time, it saves money, it creates convenience, it reduces stress, it makes something easier, it gives a result that people want. Third question is: would someone pay for this today? Not in the future, not when they have money, not when they feel ready. Today. Because if people only like your idea but don't buy it, that's not product market fit, that's entertainment. And let me give you a very important mindset shift. You don't need a perfect product to start. You need a product that people want, and you need to improve it as you go. I've seen so many founders delay their business for years because they want it to be perfect. They want the perfect website, the perfect branding, the perfect strategy, the perfect product. Meanwhile, someone with much more basic products is already making money. Because why? They started. So your first job as a founder is not perfection. Your first job is validation. You validate demand, because demand is what creates business. And without demand, everything else is actually just a waste of time. Now, once you have something the market actually wants, you need to understand this. A good product does not sell itself, not even ice cream. I know people love saying that, but it really is not true. A good product with no marketing is invisible, and an invisible product doesn't make money. This is where marketing comes in. And I want to make this very clear, because this is one of the biggest mistakes aspiring entrepreneurs make. You can have a mediocre product, but if it's marketed the right way, correctly, it can sell like crazy. And you can have an incredible product, but if nobody knows it even exists, it can go nowhere. This is reality. Maybe not fair, but it's reality. Marketing is not optional. Marketing is oxygen. So what is marketing? Marketing is simply how you get attention, how you communicate value, how you build trust, how you turn strangers into customers. And there are many ways to market. It could be social media, paid ads, networking, referrals, partnerships, cold outreach, even if it hurts a bit, content, SEO, events, email lists. There are many things you can do, but here is the point. Marketing is the bridge between your product and your customer. If that bridge is weak, you will struggle. Now let's talk about branding. Branding is not just a logo. Branding is not just colors. It's not just aesthetics. Branding is perception. Branding is what people feel when they see your business. It's the trust they have in you. It's the identity they associate you with. It's whether you look premium or cheap, whether you look serious or unserious, whether you look like someone they can trust with their money. And this brings me to personal branding, because if you are a founder, your personal brand matters, especially in the beginning. When your business is new, people don't trust the company. They trust you. They trust the face. They trust the story. They trust the credibility. And this is something I've used personally as strategy for years. I've built businesses in Denmark. I've built networks. I've moved to Dubai and built a whole new foundation. And the reason I've been able to create opportunities is because I didn't just build companies. I built a personal, not just personal, I built a strong personal brand. And your personal brand is not about being an influencer. Your personal brand is your reputation. It's what people associate with your name. So ask yourself, when someone hears my name, what do they think? Do they think professional, smart, trustworthy, disciplined, high quality, ambitious, experienced? Or do they think confused, inconsistent, unclear, trying too hard, all over the place? And listen, this is not about pretending. This is about being intentional, because the founder sets the tone for the business. If you want your business to be premium, you need to show up premium. If you want your business to be trusted, you need to communicate with clarity. If you want your business to grow, you need to become visible. So yes, product matters, but marketing and branding is what makes the product sell. And if you're not willing to market, you're not ready for business, because no one will do that for you. Now, let's talk about the part most people ignore. The numbers. This is the part that made my reel go very viral. And it went viral for a reason. Because people don't fail in business because they lack passion. They fail because they never learned the numbers. They don't know what's coming in. They don't know what's going out. They don't know what their time is worth. They don't know what it costs to get a customer. They don't know when they're being profitable. And when you don't know your numbers, you're not running a business, you're gambling. So I want to give you the 5 most important numbers you need to understand before starting a business. And I'm going to explain them in the simplest way possible. Number 1, ROI, return on investment. ROI means if you spend money, how much comes back? That's it. If you spend $100 on marketing, for example, how much do you get back? If you spend $1,000 on ads, do you make $2,000 back, or do you make $3,000 back? Because if you don't know that, you're not investing. You're just spending money and calling it a strategy. And let me tell you something, as a founder, your business will try to seduce you into spending money. New software, new tools, new branding, new equipment, new business coaches, new websites. But none of that matters if it doesn't generate return. So you always need to ask, is this an expense or an investment? And the only difference is ROI. Number 2, cash flow. Cash flow means, is money actually coming in? And I want you to understand this clearly. Profit on paper doesn't matter if cash isn't coming in. A business can look successful from the outside, but still die because there's no cash. Because maybe you have invoices out. Maybe you have clients that haven't paid yet. Maybe your expenses are too high. Maybe your marketing is costing you more than you think. Cash flow is the oxygen in your business. If money isn't moving, the business isn't breathing. And that's why founders panic. They think they're doing well because, well, they have sales, but then they look at their bank account and there's nothing. So always track what is coming in this month, what is going out this month, and how long can I survive if nothing comes in. Number 3, CAC and LTV, customer acquisition cost and lifetime value. This one is very important. CAC or CAC means how much does it cost you to get a customer. For example, if you spend $500 on ads and you get 10 customers, your CAC is $50 because it costs you $50 to acquire each customer. Now, LTV means how much money does one customer bring you over time. Let's say you sell a product for $100. If your customer buys once, your LTV is $100. But if your customer buys 5 times over a year, your LTV is $500. And here's the key. If your CAC, if your CAC is higher than your LTV, you're losing money. You might look busy, you might look successful, but you are bleeding. If your LTV is higher than your CAC, you're building something real. This is where businesses scale. This is why subscription models are powerful. This is why memberships are powerful. This is why repeat customers are very powerful. Because when your LTV grows, your business becomes stable. Number 4, break-even point. Break-even point means how many sales do you need to cover your expenses. This is one of the most important numbers in your business because if you don't know your break-even point, you don't know when you're safe. So let's make it simple. Let's say you have your monthly expenses and they are the following. Software subscriptions, $200. Marketing, $300. Accounting, $200. Tools, $100. Total, that's $800. Now let's say you make $200 per sale. That means you need 4 sales just to break even. That means your first 4 sales are not profit. They are survival. And if you don't know this, you will feel confused. You'll think, why am I selling but not making money? Because you're not past your break-even yet. So calculate your break-even point. That's not optional. Number 5, your cost of time. This is the one that hits people the hardest. Cost of time means how much are you earning per hour? Because if you work 40 hours to make $200, that's not a business. That's a prison you built yourself. And this happens to so many entrepreneurs. They start a business, they feel free, they feel excited, and then they realize they created a job that pays worse than employment because they are undercharging. I'm gonna say it again. They are undercharging. They are overworking and they are not structured. So you need to ask, how many hours does it take me to deliver my product or service? How much do I get paid for that? And if the answer is too low, you need to change something. You either increase the price, you improve systems, you outsource, you package your services differently, you create scalable products. Because the goal is not to build a business where you work more and earn less. The goal is freedom. So these 5 numbers alone can separate a real business from a dream. And if you master them, you already have an advantage over most people. Now, let's talk about MySpace, or MySpace as well, the legal part. And I'm going to say this as clearly as possible. If you don't take legal seriously, you are building on weak foundation. And it doesn't matter how good your product is. It doesn't matter how good your marketing is. If your legal setup is wrong, you can lose everything. And I've seen this happen. People start businesses with partners without agreements. They take money without clear terms. They deliver services without contracts. They don't protect their brand, and they don't protect themselves. And then when something goes wrong, it becomes very expensive. So here are the basics you need to have. Number 1, clear ownership and structure. Who owns the business? Are you alone? Do you have partners? What percentage does each person own? And if you have a partner, get it in writing immediately. No matter if you're friends, family, related, whatever, get it in writing. Because the fastest way to destroy a business is unclear partnership terms. Number 2, contracts. If you sell services, you need a contract. If you sell online, you need terms and conditions. If you work with suppliers, you need agreements. Because if a client doesn't pay, you need something to enforce. If a client complains, you need clarity. What was agreed? If someone steals your work, you need proofs. A contract is not formal. A contract is your protection. Number 3, payment terms. This is where many businesses get destroyed. You need to be clear about when do people pay? How do people pay? And what happens if they don't? Because cash flow problems often come from weak payment terms. Number 4, protect your brand. If you build a business name, a logo, a concept, make sure you're not building on someone else's trademark, and protect your own brand when you grow. Because branding is value, and value should be protected. Legal, I know it doesn't sound sexy, but legal is what makes a business safe. And a safe business can grow. A risky business will always feel unstable. So don't skip this part, please. Now, let's talk about the last but important part. Because this is the personal part that most people don't talk about, but is so important. Because even if you have the right product, the right marketing, the right numbers, and the right legal setup, your business will still fail if you are not ready. And I want to say this as someone who has been doing this for over a decade. Founder life is not glamorous. It looks glamorous online, but behind the scenes, it's pressure, it's uncertainty, it's risk, it's long hours, it's responsibility, it's decision fatigue, it's being your own motivator. Nobody is coming to save you, and that's the truth. Some days you will wake up excited. Some days you will wake up terrified. Some days you will feel unstoppable, and some days you will question everything. And the reason most people quit is not because the business is impossible. It's because they didn't expect the emotional weight that comes with it. And financially, you need to be prepared too. Because business income is not stable in the beginning, if there even is any. You might make money 1 month and then nothing the next. You might work for weeks without seeing results. You might invest money before you earn money. So ask yourself, can I survive without consistent income just for a while? Do I have savings? Do I have a plan? Do I have a strategy? And mentally ask yourself, am I ready to be misunderstood? Am I ready to work while others relax? Am I ready to keep going even when no one is clapping? Am I ready to be alone in my vision? Because entrepreneurship is not for people who need external validation. Entrepreneurship is for people who can lead themselves. And if you can do that, you can build something extraordinary. But you need to know what you're signing up for. Let me end this episode with this. Starting a business is one of the best decisions you can make, but only if you do it intelligently, not emotionally, not impulsively, not based on vibes. You need structure. So remember the 5 things. Number 1, product market fit. Is there a demand? Number 2, marketing and branding, because visibility creates sales. Number 3, the numbers, ROI, cash flow, CAC and LTV, break-even point, your cost of time. Number 4, the legal stuff, contracts, ownership, protection, payment terms. And number 5, mental and financial readiness, because founder life is not easy, but it's worth it if you're built for it. And if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, okay, I'm serious, then good, because we need more founders who build real businesses, not fake businesses, not aesthetic businesses, real businesses. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who wants to start a business. And if you want more episodes like this, practical, educational, and real, well then subscribe to my channel so you will always be updated. Thank you for listening to the Level Up podcast. I'll see you next time.